Hi! Today we'll be talking about another indie author, Brianne, who wrote One Iridescent Night, and her second book, by the time this video comes out, will be also out, an Evanescent Shadow. I got that right. You will not believe how many times it took me to get that one right. So can I just start by saying that I absolutely loved this book. It was so good. I really regret not reading it the moment it came out, but I'm also kicking myself because at this moment in time, while I'm filming this, the second book hasn't come out and it left off on a big cliffhanger. I'm like really struggling emotionally right now. It was beautifully written, and I must thank Wick for not just letting me go blindly into the first few chapters without a trigger warning. Not that I am triggered, but it took me very much by surprise. But before I get too much into that, I'm going to read you the back of the book. Between her cruel family, the loss of her mother, and the unexpected departure of her best friend Liam, young Evelyn was thrust into an unfamiliar life full of loneliness, anxiety, and mistreatment. 7 years later, 17-year-old Evelyn discovers that one magical night can shift everything she thought she knew. Reunited with all grown up and oh so handsome Liam, Evelyn finds herself unexpectedly introduced to her mysterious magical grandmother that she never knew she had, and the dashing Prince Riker that she never thought she'd like. Caught between love and fear, Evelyn is thrust into a world she's never known, with new threats she's never expected, and new changes she doesn't understand. Welcome to a world made dangerous by hidden magic, where a young girl must find her place and her voice while trying to survive the trauma she's endured most of her life. One Iridescent Night takes you on an enchanted journey filled with hope, romance, and mystery. So there's that. There's the back of the book. Perfectly describes this. It is such a magical book that I absolutely loved. And I mean, the cover. Indie authors are the best at covers. Just the best. They have the best people to do them. I'm also going to read you the trigger warning because I really appreciated it, and you might too. Author's note. This book contains scenes of domestic abuse and PTSD. I have done my best to handle these elements sensitively, but if these issues could be triggering for you, please take note. This book is recommended for ages 16 plus. So I'd say that recommendation is pretty much just within the first few chapters. The rest of the book is not as vividly in depth as the first few chapters, but it's really good, phenomenal. Evie is, or Evie, take your pick, it's a book, pronounce the names however you want, but she is such a strong and inspiring young woman, and while I can't particularly speak to her PTSD and how well it's written because I don't have it, I thought it was very clear but not overpowering. I really appreciated how she was portrayed as more than just her PTSD. She was still very stuck in the same situation, but she was more than that. She was funny and smart and not afraid to speak her mind with the right people. And I also must say that I love Riker and Liam. They are the two love interests, and they are so sweet and kind. I wish we had boys like them in the real world, but unfortunately we don't. Honestly, I don't know who I'd choose if I were Evie. They're just both so amazing men that I would very much like to marry if they were real and I was old enough. But they're so kind, and they understand that Evie will talk to them when she wants to. They don't push her to speak about the abuse she's endured, which is very rare in depictions of PTSD in books. So much in literature we read about men who are so pushy and can't allow women to be away from them, and it's so repetitive and boring, and this was totally different. At the end of the book, Evie wants to leave, and she wants to go back to her house after some events take place, and she's like, I will not talk to you both for 3 months. You cannot talk to me unless it's like a big emergency, like the world is burning down and all that. But and they're like, okay, we accept these terms. So I think that was really mature and very well written. And I mean, don't get me started on the icon that is Becca. I mean, Evie's best friend, Becca, is, amazing. I love her. She's hilarious, and I love a woman who isn't afraid to speak her mind. Like, she literally trash-talked the prince to his face. It was hilarious, and his reaction was wonderfully written. Like, I could see it in my mind, like it was a movie. I mean, I was really surprised at how quick the read is. I mean, it looks like it would be like a little while, but I went to bed picking it up, and I was gonna read like a few chapters. 3 hours later, I finished the book, and my mom's telling me to turn off my light and go to bed. But I mean, I literally could not put it down. I kept being like, Mom, no, 5 more minutes. I just need to finish this chapter. And then I finished the book. But I could not put it down no matter how many times my mom told me to go to bed, which was a lot. And I mean, I need to give a huge thank you to author Catherine Marie, who I am talking about in one of my other videos. She told me that I should read this book, and it was right up my alley because I love fairy tale retellings, and it was just amazing. So big thank you to her for giving me this book recommendation that I loved, and I'm still kicking myself for not waiting until the second book was out. But this is now one of my favorite books, and I can't wait to read what happens next. Lots of love. Bye.